They're kiramin barara. Barara means they're good. They're righteous. Righteous angels that are delivering it. So now Allah is describing the entourage that actually descends from the heavens to dignify humanity. There are two words in Quran for the righteous. There's barara and there's abrar. And abrar is used for people and barara is used for the angels. And the linguistic difference between them is interesting. Abrar means few good people. Barara means many good ones. The angels have far more good than people do. And pretty much all the angels are good. Not all people are good. So they get barara, we get abrar. We get the lesser of the two. And so Allah describes the grandeur of this revelation. This is, by the way, to me, this passage is important personally because it sets the attitude with which one studies the Quran. We're dealing with something very high, very noble, and very sacred. We're dealing with something that we would never have had access to. وَيُعَلِّمُكُمْ مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ. He teaches you what you wouldn't have any possibility of knowing whatsoever. There was no way for you to access these words that are coming from Allah. Like every word of the Quran is supposed to, bring us to humility. We're supposed to ponder over it and reflect over it and teach and treat it like a treasure, This is the great tragedy of our ummah is when the Quran is reduced to recitation, when the Quran is reduced to just, memorization. And even those reciting it don't know the value of what it is that they're reciting. That its celebration is only the kid finished hifz, or we did a khatam in Taraweeh, or somebody passed away and just recite, hand everybody a sipara and let's get it done. Let's get this party started, This is what Quran has become, or Quran's become like lockets and amulets. The Quran's become Ayatul Kursi hanging from your rear view window. That's what Quran has become. Or it's like those tiny little mushafs that you need a microscope to read. They're in your dashboard because you have an old car and you don't have anti-lock brakes and you don't have dual side airbags, so you have a copy of Quran there for protection. Or Quran is there for your wedding ceremonies because the girl has done so many messed up things that if she leaves the hall, between the hall and the limo, lightning will strike her head. So you need to hold a mushaf over her head until she gets inside. This is Quran now. Or better yet, Quran is calligraphy now. It's really beautiful calligraphy hanging in our walls, in the same rooms where we do sins. That's what it is now. Liquor stores with Ayatul Kursi behind the cash register. That's Quran now, This is the ultimate disservice to Allah's book. The people before us, they had Quran written on bones. They had Quran written on rocks. They had Quran written on dead animal skin. And if any of you saw that, you'd say, what a disrespect of Quran. Upar almari ke upar rakho isko, ye karo, wo karo. This is what you would do. Put it on the top shelf, put it here, make it marfu'a. No, it's already marfu'a in the seventh heavens. It's already elevated, it's already purified. Its dignity in this world is not on paper. Its dignity is inside the hearts of people. Its role is to help them reflect, to be in awe of Allah Azza wa Jal. When we get to a point, la yujawizu taraqiyahum, when the Quran doesn't go beyond people's throats, that's one of the signs of Judgment Day. I'm reminding you of a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. It's one of the most scary hadith I've ever read on this subject. ذَاكَ عِنْدَ ذَهَابِ الْعِلْمِ. That will happen when knowledge disappears. This is a sign of Judgment Day. And when there's a sign of Judgment Day, people are like, what's going to happen? Oh, like tall buildings? Oh my God, I saw tall buildings the other day. We're really into signs of Judgment Day. This hadith is so unique. The Sahabi forgot what the sign of Judgment Day was because of what happened after the rest of the conversation. So all he remembers is, that will happen when knowledge disappears. What is that? We don't even know. So what made him forget? He said to the Prophet ﷺ, وَكَيْفَ يَذْهَبُ الْعِلْمُ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ وَنَحْنُ قَرَأْنَا الْقُرْآنَ وَنُقْرِئُ أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاؤُنَا يُقْرِئُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ. How can we not have, what do you mean knowledge will disappear? We read the Quran and we make our kids read it and our kids will make their kids read it. What are you talking about? Knowledge will disappear. What's amazing to me about this hadith is the Prophet didn't say Quran will disappear. The Prophet said, knowledge will disappear. And the Sahabi said, how can knowledge disappear? We still have the Quran. Because in their mind, when they thought about knowledge, They thought about the Quran. Today, when we think about knowledge, we don't think about the Quran. Even within Islam, when we think about knowledge, we think about all the other books you should read, but Quran's not on that list. I'm really interested in Islamic studies, Ustad Naman. What should I study? I said, Quran. No. Islamic studies. He's like, yeah, the Quran, yeah. No, but like which fiqh books, which aqidah books, which usul books, which tazkiyah books, let's make a list of each. Those are all great books. But al-ilm is Allah's words. Everything else is a byproduct of Allah's words. Everything else you're learning is only valuable because of Allah's words. You start from the foundation and then go into the branches. Now what we do is, we study Islam from the branches, and nobody even knows that it comes from a root. Where is the asluha thabit? We only have far'uha. There's no asluha thabit. The asl of Islamic studies is actually the Quran. That's why I'm really happy. When I went to South Africa, I met with a number of ulama who are changing the curriculum of their madaris, and the first study even for young people is the study of the Quran with meaning, and then the other Islamic sciences. And that's how it's supposed to be. That's actually how it's supposed to be. The Quran and the seerah should be number one, everything else will follow. Everything else will follow. Because the book of Allah is the mizan. The book of Allah is the balance. In other words, if you don't start with this, you're not going to have a balance in your knowledge of Islam. This is the book of balance. And so it should be put in its place. It's such a high place in the heavens, and it doesn't even have a high place in Islamic studies. Forget other sciences, even within the study of Islam. When the Prophet ﷺ heard this Sahabi say, our kids will read it, well, their kids will make their kids read it, he said, أَوَلَيْسَتْ هَذِهِ الْيَهُودُ وَالنَّصَارَى بِأَيْدِيهِمُ التَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلَ لَا يَنْتَفِعُونَ مِنْهُمَا مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Don't you see these Jews and Christians? They have Torah and Injil in their hands. They recite them, but they benefit nothing from those books. You'll get to a point where you people will be reading, but you won't be benefiting from what you're reading. You won't be getting anything out of them. إِنَّمَا يَقْتَصِرُونَ عَلَى مَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ لَا يَدْرُونَ مَا فِيهَا. Ibn Abbas said, they are completely happy with what is read to them. They have no clue what's being recited. They're just happy recitation is happening. And that was Ibn Abbas's criticism of the Jews who violated the Torah. But if Ibn Abbas was alive today and he said, they're happy with recitation being done to them, they have no clue what's inside. Who would he think about this? Who would he be talking about? Who would he be talking about? Every single Ramadan is supposed to be the month of the Quran. Imam stands, recites beautiful ayat of the Quran. The vast majority of us standing behind him understand what he's saying or no? وَإِنَّمَا يَقْتَصِرُونَ عَلَى مَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ لَا يَدْرُونَ مَا فِيهَا. They're happy with the recitation happening, even though they have no clue what's inside it. I don't say Taraweeh is wrong, or Salat is wrong. I say we need to make up for it. We need to make up for that gap. We need to have study of the Quran in Ramadan. I would argue today is more important than Taraweeh. If not equally important. If not equally. If you're going to recite few rak'at, recite them after knowing what's being said. At least you have some idea why you're standing in front of Allah. You stood in front of Allah to understand His word. That's why this word came. That's why this word came. And if we feel like we don't need to understand the Quran, this is the scary thing I'm going to say. It's controversial, but I don't care. If we feel like we don't need to understand the Quran, then what's the difference between you and amma man istaghna? The one who feels he doesn't need. What did he not need? He didn't need to hear. He can hear pretty sounds of the Quran. Abu Jahl used to listen to Quran too. Enjoy the melody of it. Enjoy the wording of it. He doesn't need to hear its message. He feels like he doesn't need that. If that attitude today is carried by the Muslim, what's a bigger tragedy than that? What's a bigger catastrophe than that?